fortune, platinum records. It's every boy's dream.
True story.
Okay. Hey guys, today I'm going to tell you guys a story about the first time that I got high. Whew. I was a senior in high school, and I TA'd for second period PE. Okay, so we meet in the gym every day before PE. So I went to the gym, and I had a friend in there that was actually taking the class. I think he was a sophomore. He was a sophomore or junior. And he has something like up his sleeve, like literally up his sleeve. And he's like, hey, bite this. And I was like, no. Like, it looked like a little rock. And in my head, I was just thinking that he was gonna like try to get me to bite something that wasn't edible and be like, ha ha ha, got you. I wasn't thinking about drugs. Like, I didn't do drugs, so my mind didn't go there. So, I said, no, you bite it. And so he bit it, and I was like, oh, it's edible. It must be okay to eat, right? So I bit it, and I was like, oh, that was weed. And he's like, yeah, and that was a bigger bite than I thought you were gonna take. And I was like, really? He's like, no, but it's good. It might not be that much. It's not that strong. It shouldn't be that strong. I was like, okay, then like give me another bite, you know? I'm good. Like, I'm fine. I'm not scared. I was scared. You know? He was like, no, like chill. Like, you're good. And I was like, okay, cool. So, yeah, you're probably right. No big deal. And so he sat with me because he didn't dress out that day, because he never really dressed out. 15 minutes in, he looks at me. He's like, you should put your shades on. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you should put your shades on. So then he like put my shades on for me, and that's all I remember from that period. And then time went by, and like no one said anything. I think everything was cool. And I made it through second period, and it was break time. And yeah, because after second period we have like a 10-15 minute break. So during break, for some reason I didn't stay with my friend. Let's call him Bobby. For some reason I didn't stay with Bobby. Like, I walked off, and I guess I was gonna find some other friends. But I ran into this guy that I did not like. Like, we didn't like each other. It's like we had tension. It's not like we hated each other for a specific reason, but we had tension. And I go up to him and I hug him. And I'm just hugging him. And his friends are looking at me. And he's like looking at me. He's like, Kori, are you okay? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, well, go find your friends. And then I just look at him and I'm just like, oh yeah, I don't like you. Right. And then I just like walk off, and I guess I find my friends because I hung out with the same 5 girls like every day. It was just like us. And then we went to third period. Third period was my English class, and it was finals week. So I had my English final. Yeah. All I remember was looking at the test and was like, wow, this is a lot of work. This is a lot of work. What should I do? I should take a nap. That's what I'll do. I'll take a nap because I have to prepare myself for all this work. So I lay down and I began to take a nap. But while I was napping, all I saw were these shapes. And my brain kept saying like, oh, that's a familiar shape. Well, that's a good shape. I recognize that shape too. Like, these shapes, right? And I think my brain was just trying to find something. I think my brain was just trying to find something that was recognizable, because the whole experience was just so unrecognizable that it was trying to calm itself down. Like, I was freaking out so much in my head, but I was too high to freak out. So yeah, like I was like not in control, and that bothered me. So my brain was trying to maintain control by finding something that was like familiar. It was horrible. So as I was going through all that, someone tapped me and was like trying to wake me up, and it was this girl, and she was like, hey Kori, what are you doing? Like, do your test. And I was like, oh yeah, for sure. And I look at the test and I was like, nope, I'm not doing it. And I like laid back down, and I was just trying to maintain cool. I was trying to maintain, right? So as I was laying down, she like taps me again. And then at this point, I was looking at her like, what? Because honestly, I really didn't mess with my graduating class of high school. Like, we didn't Like, I really didn't like any of them. Like, I liked the class that was above me, and I liked the class that was under me. I didn't really like my class, and they didn't really like me either, like, honestly. And we knew that, so why are you touching me? What? And then she's like, do your test. And then she looks at the guy that was sitting across from her, and like, he looks at her and like, he just shakes his head and he continues working. And I was like, I'm too high to care. Just lay back down. And then after a few minutes, like, I get back up and I was like, you know what? I am gonna do this. Like, I need to do this, right? So I start working and I was like, yes. Ooh, I got this. I read some paragraphs. Yes, okay. And I got this, and I was like answering questions. In my head, I did 15 questions. And then in my head again, I did 51 questions. I was like, I am almost done. But then I focused in on reality, and I looked at my paper, and I was only on question number 8. And I was like, oh my gosh. I need to take another nap. And so when I went to lay down this time, I gagged, like, really loud. Like, I gagged and I scared myself. And like, when I scared myself, I jumped up, but no one else was looking at me. Like, I think I imagined myself gagging really loud because no one was paying attention. Like, if it really happened, everyone would have been staring, but no one was staring at me. So I started to freak out even more because I was like, now I'm hallucinating bodily functions. And I was like, this is not okay. This isn't right. So I like hop up and I like tell the teacher that I have to go, and I like run out of the classroom. I just leave the classroom, and I sit in this grassy area, and I was just playing in the grass until the hall monitor came. I was really happy to see her, and she looks at me, she goes, sweetie, what's wrong? And I was like, I have like the stomach flu, and I'm pretty sure I just started my period, so I'm feeling horrible. Bam. And so yeah, she was like, do you want to go to the office and call your parents? And I was like, yes, please, right? This is gonna drive me crazy. Nobody has to know if you I give it. So we go to the office, and I picked up the phone, and I was looking at all the numbers, and I realized that I didn't remember my dad's phone number. My dad has had the same phone number for about 7 years. And all I can remember was that it had a 5 in it. I put down the phone and I just lay down. I fall into like a deeper sleep. Like, I was like sleeping this time. And then as I was waking up, I don't know how long I was asleep, but as I was waking up, I was thinking like, oh, I'm gonna be sober. I'm gonna be sober. I'm gonna be sober, right? I slept, but no, like, I wake up and then I sit up and I'm just like, oh, no. And I lay back down. And when I laid back down, I realized that my backpack and all my stuff was next to the bed. I was like, oh, good. So I text my dad and I asked him if he could pick me up because I wasn't feeling well. And he's like, yeah, of course, I'm on my way. Fall asleep. And then someone wakes me up a little later and they said, your sister's here. And I was like, no, she's not. And I like closed my eyes and they're like, no, wait, Kori, wake up, babe, your sister's here. And I was like, no, she's not.
My sister doesn't live here.
So my sister, she actually lived in San Francisco at the time, and it didn't register in my head that she was visiting. So I went out, I was like, oh. I'm like trying to hold on to her because I could like barely walk on my own. And she like looks at me, she's like, Kori, like, get off, like, what's wrong? And I was like, yo, just walk me to the car, like, walk with me to the car. But when we were walking out, one of the women from the office was walking out with us because she wanted to make sure that we got to the car, okay, and she wanted to talk to my dad. The woman comes to the passenger side and she's talking to my dad. She's like, she has a little bit of the stomach flu and she's on her period, so she's really fatigued and dehydrated, and I'm gonna go get her some water and some crackers, okay? So don't leave yet. I'm looking at my dad like, because I wanted to, like, I didn't want to lie to him. So when she left, I turned to him and I was like, okay, Dad, so what really happened was there was a cookie and it had weed in it, and I bit the cookie. And so my sister comes from the back seat and she goes, so you're high? And she just starts laughing so hard, and my dad's like, no, it's not funny. I've had a bad high before, it's not funny. Let's go get you some Gatorade. And that's what he said. When the woman came back with the crackers and water, we left and he got me Gatorade. And I just remember waking up on the couch the same day and my dad bought me a blue Gatorade. And then I remember waking up in my bed the next day and I couldn't even look at my parents like that morning before I left. Like, I just left. Normally I kiss them goodbye and wake them up. But nope, I just went to school, and when I got to school, my mom texted me. She was like, so that was some Crypticana like, huh, nigga? And I just started laughing. I was like, oh, she doesn't hate me. And then I saw Bobby, like, started to tear up. Like, when I told him the story, he felt so bad. He was like, I didn't, like, are you okay? I'm so sorry. I was like, no, it's fine. I was like, but you were good? He goes, I didn't feel it until I was walking home. Till you were walking home from school? It took 6.5 hours to hit you when it took 15 minutes to... I was so upset. I was like, drugs are not for me. Do not... Nope. Drugs are not... I will stick with my sipping, my champagne, my wine, and I'm good. Like, I cannot mess with drugs. Do not give Kori drugs. And my English teacher, I was able to retake my final. And what did I get on that? An A. Yes, I love that staff. But yeah, that was my story time. Thanks guys for listening. I hope you appreciate it. Please tell me your stories of the first time you got high. Let me know if you liked it. Have a good one, guys.